Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Pace Studio. And now for something completely different. We are very lucky to have Willie Watson in the house. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You've got a new record out. It's called Folk Singer Volume 2. Came
right.
out last month. And hopefully we'll hear some tracks from that record.
Yeah, I'll start you off with the first track on the record, Samson and Delilah. If I had my way, if I had my way, if I had my way, I would tear this old building down. Well, Delilah, she was a woman, she was fine and fair. She had good looks, God knows, and coal black hair. Delilah, she gained old Samson's mind. When first he saw that woman, it would be last time. Well, Delilah, she sat down on Samson's knees to tell me where your strength lies, if you please. Well, she talked so fine, you know, she spoke so fair. Samson told Delilah, cut off my hair. You can shave my head, clean in my hand, and my strength come natural as any other man. If I had my way, if I had my way, if I had my way, I would tear this old building down. Well, Samson and that lion, they got in an attack. Samson jumped up on that lion's back. Well, you read about this beast that killed a man with his paws. Samson got his hands in the lion's jaw. Well, he read that beast till he killed him dead, and the beast made honey in the lion's head. If I had my way, if I had my way, if I had my way, I would tear this old building down. Now you read about old Samson and all of his works. He was the strongest man that ever had lived on earth. Well, one day when Samson was walking along, looked on the ground and saw an old jawbone. Well, he stretched out his arms, you know it broke like thread. And when he got to moving, 10,000 was dead. Good God, if I had my way, if I had my way, if I had my way, I would tear this old building down. If I had my way, I would tear this old building down. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that song was made famous by Reverend Gary Davis in the 60s. And I'm glad you started with that song because it kind of helps like ease into talking about the record, which is a collection of reimagined, reinterpreted songs. So I was wondering, to start off with, if you could tell us a little bit about why these songs that are included really, really resonate with you, what they mean to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose, first of all, reimagined, sort of. I mean, like, I listen to Reverend Gary Davis, and I think, like, that sounds amazing, and that's how I want to, I kind of want to do it like he does, but I'm not Reverend Gary Davis, and it just kind of comes out in my own way, Mm-hmm. Like, I can only sound like me. It's not always intentional. Like, it's just how it comes out, There's themes in all of these songs that resonate with me, some more than others. I think it's tricky to really put your finger on that. Like with Samson and Delilah, it's a song about struggle, and it's a song about pushing on through and trying to rise above that, and I've dealt with that theme in my personal life, there's other songs on the record. There's this one song called "Always Lift Him Up and Never Knock Him Down," and that was written, I think, in the 20s. But I mean, that theme really resonates today, and I find just the world that we live in. I live in Los Angeles, and I mean, we're here in New York, and like, just on a real basic level, just the daily grind and the sort of rush and the push of this world, and everyone's sort of pushing each other out of the way and trying to be first, and rather than being concerned with what we can do for each other, everyone's really concerned with what we can get and how fast we can get it, and whatever they want to buy on Amazon Prime that day, and they want it delivered that afternoon. That stuff kind of drives me crazy. And I try to, I live in this world, and I'm fully immersed in it. And sometimes I'm guilty of all that stuff, but it's just, I think we just got to try to, just think about our neighbors, and then like the gallows pole, it's sort of more like about the last verse, and like it's kind of a love song in a way, and I'm single, and I think about that my true love coming over the hill, and it's something I sort of long for. But at the same time, I mean, I can latch on to almost anything. I'm very emotional, and I'm like real sensitive, and I just sort of I can see like a certain beauty in human interaction on a daily basis, and so I don't know. It's all in there somewhere,
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think folks listening really pick up on that, like when they hear this collection of songs and the way it's structured and ordered. Well, tell us about the next song that you're going to play.
Okay. Well, I was going to sing you a song from from my old record, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get this banjo.
Sure. Folk Singer Volume 1 also takes on kind of a similar structure of re-envisioning some of those old songs in your way.
Yeah, and I think the whole point in the beginning was just that, like with Folk Singer Volume 1, it was my first solo venture, mm-hmm. and I don't know that it was as thought out as people might think. It was just like, here's what I can do. I didn't like the songs that I was writing, and it's like, well, I was doing some shows and singing some songs that I was writing that I wasn't even really that crazy about. Some people seemed to like them, but at the end of the day, the people at these shows, they liked songs like Midnight Special and Keep It Clean so much more, and so did I. So it just made sense to just sort of go in that direction. And at the same time, I figured out that this was my strong point. It's all out of necessity. And it's just what makes sense.
It's funny you said that, though, because I was wondering what it was like for you to go from, playing and writing original songs with Old Crow Medicine Show to taking this kind of, like, oftentimes solo and acoustic, like, singer-songwriter, reinventor persona.
What was it like doing that, changing over?
Yeah.
I mean, it was tough at first just because I had never thought of myself as a solo performer. I always considered myself like a real band kind of guy. I liked having my gang, it was a very fraternal thing, and it was just fun, So it was a tough transition. I had to just figure some things out, just in like performance and like how to play the guitar in a way that was gonna fill things up enough and make it like a full sound, so it didn't sound like a demo necessarily. And of course I have this banjo, so that always helps, and I can switch back and forth, and it gives it a certain sort of dynamic, and people comment on like the variety of folk music that I seem to be able to cover. So I'm glad people are digging it, and that's what they see. All right, I'll sing you the Mexican Cowboy from Volume 1 there. Winners in old Fort Worth in 1883. Some old Mexican cowboy come stepping up to me, saying, "Hi, you young fella, and would you like to go?" Then to spend another season with me in Mexico. I have no employment, back to him did say. It's according to your wages, according to your pay. Said I'll pay to you good wages, and often too, you know. If you'd spend another season with me in Mexico. Cowboy offered him my hand, but he gave a string of horses so old they couldn't stand, and I nearly starved to death, boys. I mean to let you know that I never saved a dollar in those hills of Mexico. Started steamboat, back to home they'd go. How them bells they did ring, those whistles did blow. How them bells they did ring, those whistles did blow. On that God-forsaken fortune 'neath them hills of Mexico. Thank you very much.
So good, dude. Thank you. So you're from upstate here in New York. I have like New Yorker problem of like anything north of the Bronx is upstate to me.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh, Ithaca is actually not in the Hudson River Valley. So I was gonna ask you kind of how you got interested in this kind of music, and I was like, oh, like, you know, Hudson River Valley has a great folk scene, but
sure,
I don't know anything about actual upstate New York. So how did you get into this type of music?
Yeah, well, I just grew up just saying New York State. We didn't know. And then I think in my 20s, I started saying upstate because I started traveling. Mm-hmm. And I realized that, there was a difference. And you say New York, and most people around the rest of the country think
here
you're talking about the city.
Yeah.
And then I'd say upstate, and they'd be like, oh, like New Paltz, or... And I'd be like, oh, no, like way out in the middle. So then I realized that I think it's central New York State.
Oh, wrong twice. I'm so sorry.
So that's what I say now.
Okay.
But no, Ithaca, New York. There's this big scene there of fiddle music, old time fiddle music. A lot of clawhammer banjo players and old time fiddlers, and beyond that too, a real roots music scene. They have a festival there every summer called the Grassroots Music Festival, cool. and I grew up going to that. And I was exposed to string band music and Cajun music, Zydeco music. They'd bring in dancers from Africa. They considered it more of like a world music festival, but it was mostly like American traditional stuff and like all the local scene, So there's a real big local music scene there. and I was just immersed in that. By the time I was like 12 or 13, there was this band called the Horseflies, and a great clawhammer banjo player Richie Stearns, and this fantastic old time fiddler Judy Hyman, and Jeff Claus, and these guys, and I would go to their shows when I was about 12, 13 years old, and saw these guys playing this old time string band music, but it was a little more modern. And this was like the early 90s, and they were around in the 80s, so it was like a mix of like 80s pop and old time music. You had a drummer playing this real poppy drum beat and a synthesizer and all this, and it was I thought it was just cool as hell. And so that really turned me onto it, and that was pretty much my introduction to like banjos and fiddles, you know. And my dad was also a big music fan. He loved Irish fiddling and he loved bluegrass music, and we would go out and he would take me around town, and we'd go to like an Irish pub, and there'd be like some Irish fiddlers in the corner just playing fiddle tunes all night, and it just moved me, you know. It really spoke to me, those fiddle tunes, even if it's like a breakdown. I really feel it, you know.
Totally.
And so it just stuck with me. And from there, you just you start learning about that music, and you listen to Bob Dylan, and then you listen, you know, it's like, well, then you hear about Woody Guthrie, and everyone's like, oh yeah, I know who Woody Guthrie is, but I mean, I knew who he was, and I knew about This Land Is Your Land, but I couldn't say that I'd ever actually heard him, you know. And then I heard Woody Guthrie and was just, you know, sort of blown away. And then from that, it takes you to Leadbelly, and you keep learning about all this if, you know, you start doing like research, you know.
Yeah.
So
well, and
it
there's
just
a
went from there.
Leadbelly song, or a song that Leadbelly made famous, shall we say?
Yeah.
On Volume 2 as well.
Yeah, there's a couple. I love him so much,
Dude.
And I like, you know, when it came time to start working on Volume 2, and I was like, well, I can't have, like, the first record had like a couple Leadbelly songs, and I was like, well, I can't have more than one on this, but I was just unable to avoid it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. We've got one more for us
Yeah,
today.
let's do that.
Tell us about the
let's
last
do,
one.
I'll sing you Gallows Pole.
Cool. Also, what's the box on the stool?
Oh, that's an old slide projector box that I sort of keep harmonicas and capos and picks and stuff in there.
Clever.
Wait a little while, hangman, wait a little while and see. I think I see my father coming way across the sea. Father, did you bring me silver? Father, did you bring some gold? Or did you bring me, dear father, to keep me from the gallows pole? I didn't bring no silver, I didn't bring no gold. I come to see you hanging from the gallows pole. So wait a little while, hangman, wait a little while and see. I think I see my mother coming way across the sea. So mother, did you bring me silver? Mother, did you bring some gold? Did you come to see me hanging from the gallows pole? No, I didn't bring no silver, I didn't bring no gold. I come to see you swinging from the gallows pole. Yes, you're swinging. Yes, from the gallows pole. Yes, you're swinging. Yes, from the gallows pole. Slack up your rope, hangman, slack it for a while. I think I see my own true lover riding many miles. So, lover, did you bring me silver? Lover, did you bring some gold? Did you come to see me hanging from the gallows pole? Oh, yes, I brought you silver. I brought a little gold. I brought a little of everything to keep you from the gallows pole. Yes, I brought it. Yes, to keep you from the gallows pole. Yes, I brought it. Yes, to keep you from the gallows pole.
So we've gotten a lot of really good response in the comments, which is pretty cool.
Cool.
And I won't read or ask you everything that has been commented.
Okay.
But the most important question was, where do you get your hats?
God, I know, right? You know what? I get
very
that.
good.
I get that question a lot on Instagram and Facebook, social media. That's most of the direct messages I receive are regarding my hat, and
Well, clearly they're awesome.
and I've decided that if I told all these people where I got my hat, then everyone at my show would be wearing my hat, and I'm gonna keep that close to my vest.
That's fair. Yeah.
Sorry,
you
folks.
You should get that like branding money, sponsorship
Yeah,
money for
yeah,
that anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've got a couple of dates in New York City, playing Ref Trade in Brooklyn tomorrow night, Mercury Lounge on Thursday, and then you're headed mid New York, central New York, and upstate.
That's upstate, right?
Afterwards.
Yeah.
The rest of those tour dates are on your website, on your Facebook. Willie Watson, Folk Singer Volume 2, out now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks
with
for
us
having
today.
me, guys. It was a blast.